It's a premium on the take.
So let's start by asking, David, you're ready.
Yeah.
So when and where was your father born and raised?
When and where? He was born in Detroit, Michigan in 1890, and what was his date? July something.
27 or 28?
Something like that.
Was,
Yeah, Junior's a a week or so ahead of my dad's birthday.
okay.
But it was the latter part of July in 1870.
No, 1890.
Or 1890, I mean, yeah.
And so was he born in a house? Or
I assume so, but I don't really know.
And what did your grandfather do?
He was a ship's carpenter for the Austin Dustin line in Detroit. They built the Puddin Bay, and he was a chief carpenter.
So that would entail just doing stuff inside the interior of the boat?
He was an interior carpenter, worked for interior, like cabinet work.
Mm-hmm.
He did all the cabinet work on the Puddin Bay.
And that's a ferry boat that would go from Detroit?
It was an excursion boat.
And it would go to Puddin Bay Island and...
Yeah, in different places down on Lake Erie and up in Lake St. Clair.
Like tourists,
Yeah.
People that wanted to take a...
So it was day trips, basically.
Did they go during the week, boats like that? Or
Yeah.
People just go in the afternoon?
7 days a week. Or they usually book excursions for different organizations that have an excursion.
Okay.
And they put them
an
up.
acrobat or something like that.
What?
I thought he was a trapeze artist.
That's his mom's.
That was in his early days.
Yeah.
Not when he was later on, when my dad arrived, he was doing carpentry work. But after he and my grandmother met, that's where they met. It was in a circus. And he was the trapeze catcher in the trapeze, and my mother was the artist.
And how did he, do you know how your grandfather wound up getting into the circus? Do you have any...
How they got a what?
Do you know how your grandfather got into the circus? I mean, how he...
No, just his build. He was over 6'1" or 6'2", and built like a brick crap house when bricks were cheap.
And where was he? Do you know where he's from or where he was born?
Yeah, he was born in St. Hyacinthe, Quebec.
Oh, really? So he was Canadian or French Canadian?
Yeah, oh yeah, along with all the rest of the Cotes.
And then he was, so he wound up in Detroit, but he wound up moving to Detroit as a kid? Or?
Oh, he moved back and forth between Detroit and Toledo. They never had any permanent residence. My grandfather never really had enough money.
Oh, really? Okay. And so he was in the circus, but then later got carpentry skills and became this carpenter for the boat line.
Well, yeah, he had other skills. He did carpentry work around, not only on boat lines, but cabinet. He was basically a cabinet maker.
Right. So, did your dad ever tell you stories of his childhood or any?
Not much.
No.
My dad never talked much about it.
Really? So you don't. He grew up in Detroit.
Yeah, he was born and raised in Detroit.
And where in the city?
Yeah, he was born where Roosevelt Park is now, in front of the Michigan Central Depot.
Oh, okay.
And when he was a kid, that's where he was born.
So that's off of Michigan, right?
That's right off of Michigan, and
The old Tiger Stadium.
yeah, it's right across the street almost from Tiger Stadium. But that's let's see, Trumbull
Yeah.
came in there, and
Right. 18th Street. It's all those.
18th, yeah.
And so this is before the Central Depot was built.
Oh yeah, there was nothing there. It was a big empty lot.
Right. And so that's where he was born.
But he went to school. My dad went to school to the 4th grade at Old St. Vincent's.
What's that?
It's a Catholic school,
Yeah,
and that's on 14th and right off of Michigan.
Oh, okay. So he went up through the 4th grade and then.
Yeah, because he said he went through school, he'd go in the front door and out the back.
Did you ever meet your grandfather?
Did I ever meet him?
Yeah.
No. He died just before I was born. He died in 1924.
What about your grandmother?
She was dead long before I arrived. My grandmother, my dad's mother, died in 1918.
She had the flu?
I don't know what it was.
So he went to school through the 4th grade, and then he just left school at that point.
He never really finished the 4th grade.
So what did he? Did he start trying to work and just get jobs?
Well, he traveled around. He was this bellhop on the DNC lines when he was about 10 or 12 years old. And then he was also took a trip out to California when he was 10 years old, hitchhiked out there in Arizona, whatever. Went to California and San Francisco right after the big earthquake in 1901 or 2 or whatever it was.
1906 or 1908.
In 1906 or 8 or something like that. He was just a kid.
Wow.
He hitchhiked out there, rode rails, tell stories.
1880, he would have been 26.
No, 1890.
Oh, 1890.
1890, yeah.
So the DNC line was what? What train was that ran to Chicago and back, or where? You said he was a bellhop on the DNC.
DNC boats. The DNC excursion. Well, they were not excursions; they were passenger boats between Detroit and Cleveland. Detroit and Cleveland Transit Company.
Oh, wow.
And he was a bellhop on it. And you could get on the DNC, put your car on it, take a cabin, and spend the night. And the next morning, you'd get to Cleveland or Buffalo and drive your car off, and you were there, and you're halfway to New York. And you saved all that driving because the roads weren't very good. They didn't have roads.
Yeah, right. Wow, that's wild. So he's like 9 or 10. So he's 4th grade or 10 or 11. He's out. He's doing that, and then.
Then he got a job later on. He got a job on the DNC lines as an oiler in the engine room. He was only about 16 or 17.
So what's an oiler do?
I don't know, pump oil into the bearings. Big oil can. I had the picture someplace of him in his DNC uniform. It looked just like me when I was in the Navy. I don't know whatever happened to it. I lost it somewhere after I got in the Navy.